Welcome back to another edition of Luis Estrada Sports Report. I'm your host, Luis Estrada. Welcome to today's show. And we've got a great show. It's the Super Bowl edition of the Luis Estrada Show here today on YouTube. And what a game we have. Super Bowl 47 tomorrow. The San Francisco 49ers against the Baltimore Ravens. The Harbaugh Bowl, however you want to say it. I'll tell you what, you got two brothers going at it for the first time as head coaches in the Super Bowl. And two likable head coaches, two really good head coaches. This is going to be an exciting game. And I cannot wait to see it. But before we talk about the actual Super Bowl, let's talk about the paths that both teams took to get here. Let's start in the NFC with the San Francisco 49ers. At the beginning of the year, they were the favorites from a lot of people to make it to the Super Bowl, and there was a lot of reasons why they should have been. Their defense was phenomenal. You had Frank Gore running the ball. You had Randy Moss coming out of semi-retirement to join them. You also had Michael Crabtree, who emerged at the end of last year. And, of course, you had the tight end Vernon Davis. Little did we know that we were in for a big surprise at Week 11. And that was the turning point for the San Francisco 49ers when they announced that Colin Kaepernick was going to take over for Alex Smith as their starting quarterback. And since that day, that offense has been going nonstop, just bam, 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 run and shoot. It reminds me of the old days when you used to watch the Houston Cougars in college football, just spread the ball around and almost run at will. And that's really what the San Francisco 49ers offense has become since Colin Kaepernick has taken over the helm of the San Francisco 49ers. Now, Colin Kaepernick, he came out of the University of Nevada. He ran a pistol offense, which is what they're running in San Francisco, and he has just looked phenomenal. Let's take a look at their path to get to the Super Bowl. They started off at home against the Green Bay Packers, who just won the Super Bowl a couple of years ago, and they literally ran the Green Bay Packers off the field 45-31. Colin Kaepernick rushed for an NFL record for quarterbacks, 181 yards. He had 4 total touchdowns in that game, and he still threw for 263. He had a phenomenal game. What was really good about that game is when he faced adversity. It was a tight game going into halftime. They came out, they made adjustments in the second half. They outscored the Green Bay Packers 38-17 after being down 14-7 in the first quarter. Talk about adjustments that they made throughout the game, and then especially in the second half where they literally ran away from the Green Bay Packers in that game. Then they go to the NFC Championship game where they face the Atlanta Falcons. And again, everybody's picking them to beat the Falcons because the Falcons are soft. Well, little did anybody know what was going to happen. The 49ers were down 17-0 and then 24-7 going into halftime. Again, Jim Harbaugh and the San Francisco 49ers coaching staff, they make their second half adjustments. They keep the Falcons scoreless in the second half in Atlanta, which was unheard of. In the first half, quarterback Matt Ryan for the Atlanta Falcons, he threw for 271 yards and 3 touchdowns in the first half. I mean, he was just shredding the San Francisco 49er defense. But they made the adjustments. They locked down the receivers. They got pressure on Matt Ryan, forcing 2 key turnovers in the second half. They came back and they won. They beat the Atlanta Falcons 28-24 in Atlanta to earn a spot in Super Bowl 47. That was a huge win for the San Francisco 49ers. It's their first Super Bowl since 1995. You're going back almost 20 years since their last Super Bowl appearance. And that was back when they had Steve Young, Jerry Rice, John Taylor, Hall of Famers that they haven't had for a very long time. So this return to prominence by the San Francisco 49ers, which we saw a little bit last year. They got to the NFC Championship game last year. But this year they took it to the next step. And you know what? They've done a phenomenal job. Second-year head coach Jim Harbaugh has really taken this team, a team that 2 years ago was 3-13, had nowhere to go. The future was just looking terrible, and has really turned this franchise around. Hats off to Coach Jim Harbaugh and the 49ers for their turnaround. Now let's look at the AFC and what many people are calling the team of destiny, the Baltimore Ravens. This team was pretty much given up for dead every round of the playoffs this year. They started off at home against the Indianapolis Colts, and a lot of people picked the Colts to win. Andrew Luck had a superb year, especially for a rookie coming in, replacing Peyton Manning. And just, he took the NFL by storm, the way that he brought the Colts into the playoffs. Everyone was thinking maybe, they had 2 wins last year. Everyone's thinking this year maybe the Colts are going to have 4 or 5 wins. Well, they ended up with 10-6, same record as the Baltimore Ravens on a they had a really good game plan in that game. They tried to grind it out. What Baltimore did really well in that game was they really mixed up their defenses, going from coverages, zone coverages to man-to-man coverages, really confused Andrew Luck all game long. They bottled up the run game. said, okay, kid, try to pass it on us. And they got their hands on a lot of balls, a lot of pressure on Andrew Luck. They won the game 24-9 at home in Baltimore. And that was round one. That was a wild card round. Second round, round two, they go into Denver. And they face the Denver Broncos. And I'm going to tell you, again, a lot of people, everybody I know said, you know what, the Broncos are dead, except for maybe a couple people. Okay, the Broncos are going to just beat the Ravens. The Ravens season is over today. And it looked that way going down in the fourth quarter. They were down by 7, 30 seconds left to go in the game. 70-yard bomb from Joe Flacco to Jacoby Jones. And all of a sudden we got a tie game. They tied the game last minute. What a great game that was. They win it in double overtime on a kick by Justin Tucker, and they win the game 38-35. What a remarkable comeback that was in Denver to go from, basically less than a minute from your season being over to all of a sudden you have new life. And guess what? You pull it out in Denver on the road, and you end up in the AFC Championship game. What a game that was. Joe Flacco was phenomenal in that game, 331 yards and 3 touchdowns in that game. Ray Rice had his best game of the playoffs in that game, 131 yards rushing and a touchdown as well. Then they go to New England. And, once again, here we go. They are set. Okay, that's it. Ravens are done. They're going to the Patriots. And you know what? The Patriots were playing probably the best football of anybody in the NFL at that moment. However, someone forgot to tell the Baltimore Raven defense that that was the case, because they went in and they just punched the Patriots in the mouth. They took it to them, holding the Patriots at 13 points total offense, or 13 total points, holding them scoreless in the second half, and that's unheard of. In the second half, they also forced 3 New England Patriot turnovers. They ran the ball very well. They threw the ball very well. They won the game 28-13 in New England to show up in Super Bowl 47 at the Hard Bowl. Now, you look at these two teams, so evenly matched. They both average about 30 points a game in the playoffs. They both average over 400 yards total offense in the playoffs. Now, here's where they differ. The 49ers have 3 takeaways and have forced 3 turnovers in the playoffs. The Baltimore Ravens have forced 8. That is a huge, huge difference, because if you can force turnovers, you have a great shot at winning the game. That's going to be the key to this game. Okay, you look at the teams offensively, they're very, very similar. They have good quarterbacks, they have good running backs, they have 2 outstanding wideouts, one on each side, and you have great tight ends. Okay, so offensively, they are about as similar can be. Okay, I don't want to say mirror images of each other, because their quarterbacks are a little bit different, but you look at them, man for man, they're very, very similar. Defensively, you look at the Ravens, you've got Ray Lewis, who announced that he is going to retire at the end of the year. His season comes to the end tomorrow, this Sunday at Super Bowl 47. Is he going out on top, or is he going out in second place? We're going to find out tomorrow. You also have Ed Reed, who could be playing his last game for the Baltimore Ravens, and then you also have the veteran Terrell Suggs. Names we know. Everyone said, you know what, this defense is old, they're tired, they're a step slower. You know what, we've been saying about the San Antonio Spurs in basketball for about the last 6 years, and they're still one of the top teams in the NBA. Same thing here with the Ravens defense. They may be a little slower, but they're still getting the job done, and that's huge. Don't discredit the experience that they have that the 49ers don't have. Okay, so who's going to win the game? Now, before I give you my prediction, let me explain something. When I make my predictions, I'm coming at it as objectively as I possibly can. It does not necessarily reveal my rooting interest. Okay, so let me get it down to business. Who's going to win this game? I like both of these teams. These teams play hard-nosed defense. They play great offense. I think it's going to be a relatively low-scoring game. I think it's going to be a 24-17, 24-21 type of game. It's going to be a close game. I really believe that. And I do think the deciding factor in this game is going to come down to quarterback. Joe Flacco is probably playing the best he's ever played in his career so far. He's throwing the deep pass well, the intermediate pass well. He's got great running backs behind him. He's getting protection. He's doing everything right. He's not making the big mistake, which is huge. Colin Kaepernick, on the other hand, he's relatively new. He's only 2nd year in this league. He is in the playoffs for the first time. He's handled pressure immensely well. What I like about him is he makes good decisions with the football. He's got great touch. He can throw the deep ball. He can throw the ball accurately, very fast. and he makes good decisions when to run, when not to run. He hasn't made that critical mistake yet. He's only had one bad game, and that was against the Seattle Seahawks earlier in the year, in which the entire 49er team had a bad game. And you know what? Throughout the entire season, you're going to have one bad game. But this game definitely comes down to quarterback play. And the thing that I like for the team that I think is going to win is a little bit of diversity. What I mean by that is you do have a little bit extra that one quarterback gives you over the other, and that's Colin Kaepernick. Colin Kaepernick gives you that extra threat because he can run. And if you've seen the guy run, if he gets in open space, he is fast. He is very, very fast. Okay, he's a big kid. He runs the ball well. He throws the ball well. I think he's going to be the deciding factor, that little extra ingredient of, you have to cover the run with him. You can't just drop 8 back and rush 3. You do that, he's going to kill you all day long running the ball. So I do like the San Francisco 49ers to win this game and win the Super Bowl tomorrow, giving Jim Harbaugh his first Super Bowl win, and the 49ers their first Super Bowl since the 1995 season. That's my prediction. I think the San Francisco 49ers will beat the Baltimore Ravens tomorrow in a close game, 24-21. I think Colin Kaepernick's going to have a really good game. But all that being said, don't be surprised if I'm wrong. And the Baltimore Ravens are able to confuse Colin Kaepernick just a little bit and steal that one away. But I really believe that Colin Kaepernick's his maturity is a lot better than people think. I think he's going to handle himself well. And I like the 49ers to win this game 24-21 tomorrow. That's a wrap here on the Luis Estrada Show, Super Bowl edition. We'll see you next time.